Hello and welcome to Jaya Gaya with Permaculture Food Forest. Today I want to present a bit our emerging food forest. We planted many different plants over the winter, actually over the last few months. Over the winter I was doing the final design exercise for my permaculture course, online course, which I did last year with Geoff Lawton, which I can really only recommend to anybody interested in taking a course. So before I show our main food forest for now, I just want to show you some photos of how it looked before. We had one shrub which is didn't really add much value for anybody, so neither us nor any insects. So we took that out, and then we took out a huge tuya hedge, which was over 5 meters tall and blocking the morning sun from our neighbor. And then this area we wood chipped with wood chips which we got from gardeners around, and this we did in autumn, and then from the spring, from March, we started planting the different plants. For this planting I made a plant database which contains over 100 different species, which I will link to as a Google document in the description. So in case you're interested in any of the plants I name, you find them there. They have attributes which are mostly collected from pfaff.org, which I can really recommend. It's a plants for future, in case you're looking up any plants. But I just took out the main attributes, so if you want any more information on the different plants, please check out the website itself. And the database contains botanical names, German names and English names, as we live in Germany. And this channel will mostly be in German, but I'll post some English updates videos from time to time. Just an additional note, please bear with me, I'm really just start with this channel, and I'm not so good yet. I'm filming with my phone, and I'm still getting experience. So this is where the hedge was. The hedge was kind of the central piece here, and it was surrounded by even more ivy. So we took out some ivy and this main hedge, which we replaced here by the main feature, which is peach tree. There's 2 sea buckthorns, there are strawberries, blackberries, asparagus and few flowers, and other leafy edibles planted around, which you cannot see yet. This is one plant which I'm very excited about. It's a haskap, Lonicera caerula. I'm really excited to see and taste it, as I got it recommended by my dear friend and inspiration from overseas, Canadian Permaculture Legacy, and he absolutely loves them, so I'm really looking forward. I will not go too much into detail, but here it was mostly also lawn. We covered the whole thing in wood chips. The path disappeared because I needed it, because I'm fixing our car, and I needed to make a construction. Here over the arch there will be a grape and a rose which can grow over it. So while we're passing here, this is the main path up to behind the house, where I take everything with my wheelbarrow towards the front, and then here towards the street. This pond is a swimming pond, a 70-year-old swimming pond, which is basically just a concrete block, and it is spring fed, so the water is super fresh and cold, which is awesome, but for the kids especially it's too cold. And here you can see First asparagus. Sadly, we cannot eat it yet, but we are supposed to wait at least 2 years before we eat any asparagus in order for it to establish. Then here we have one Eleagnus anguifolia. I forgot now the English name. I think it is Russian autumn olive. And there we have Eleagnus multiflora, which is the gummy berry, which is supposed to have super delicious berries. And these two, even though not part of the legume family, they fix nitrogen as well. So, and then here you can see in our neighbor's house. This is not possible, as you can see also on the photos. And yes, things are starting to emerge. I'm not sure, I think I planted in this area around 100 different plants. So here is one more gummy, one more hascap. There's a hazelnut named variety. This is false jasmine, which has super fragrant, beautiful flowers. Some currants. Here another main feature tree, which is Cornus mas cornelian cherry. This is a leaning sumac tree. It's a very beautiful feature as well. And then yeah, here all along, Japanese wineberry, more Eleagnus angustifolia. Then this is buffalo berry, and yeah, just roses, a rose, and then a rose, some winter flowering bush, and then we have here, we have a plum, a bit behind there you can see, there's another cornelian cherry, and back there there's a Judas tree. I don't know how you call it in English actually. I think the Latin botanical name is Cercis sequilastrum or something like that. And then which makes beautiful, very beautiful pink flowers. And here all through here there's really a mix of, the idea is really that as we walk along these different paths that we have stuff to nibble from. So there's blackberry, currant, serviceberry, hascap, currant. Here there's 4 Eleagnus ebingii, which are evergreen nitrogen fixer, which also produces small berries. And then yeah, the stuff you can see here, there's strawberries. These are some brooms, which I really love. Small ones, nitrogen fixer, buffalo berry nitrogen fixer, and then there's few nitrogen fixes which you cannot see yet, they're only coming. And this is also winter flowering Honeysera, honeysuckle, but I forgot the name. Purposii, I think was it. Winter beauty. So these will be evergreen and provide some fragrance and flowers for the winter. And then here we have hedges of the first row is a plums, like red plums, red leafed plums, which have beautiful, very small purple flowers very early in spring. You see they're already completely done flowering, and that's also why most of the time these little guy, yeah, that's exactly what I meant. See, these little guys, they freeze and fall off. So there we didn't have fruit yet, but this is only our second spring here. And then I have one grape here planted. I saw this video, which I can link to here, from Andrew Milson, where he talks about his fetch, his food hatch in front of the door, where passerbys can nibble some fruit. So we'll have grapes which can grow all through here, and we'll plant chocolate vine and some other stuff over the years, which we will grow through these trees, and then people, as they reach them, they can eat them as well. So why is this our main food forest? It's not such a big area. We have a bigger area behind the house. You can see here it's really steep. It goes back. But this will be our nursery area as well, nursery and trial area. So many of these plants or fruits I actually never tasted or ate, like the serviceberry, another recommendation from my dear friend, Canadian Permaculture Legacy, the haskap, the black currants, white currants I never tasted, serviceberry, not serviceberry, I have to look because in reality I'm pointing somewhere else than how it looks on the camera. So buffalo berry, yeah, cornelian cherry I ate a little bit but not really much. So many of these plants actually I have no idea how they taste. I only know them as a recommendation from not only Canadian Permaculture Legacies but a few different places as well. And yeah, so we will taste them now, see how we like them, and then we see how we will be able to propagate them as well, in order to replant them at the back of the house where we're going to now. In the back we have a very chalky soil, and very dry soil, low in organic matter. So over the next few years we will be building up soil and organic matter. And about the importance of organic matter, we'll do another video. But yeah, and then we will plant as we continue our journey and know what we want. We will plant to the back as well. I am filming the second part of our tour in the garden of today's lake. And I just wanted to show you the spring which comes out of this mountain. And goes here, then here, and then into the swimming pond, which is more dipping pond because the water is so cold, even with 35 degrees outside. You don't go in very long. So, and this here is the way from the terrace up. We have here planted 2 currants and 1 blackberry. This blackberry looks very sad, and we planted it last winter. I was really not happy where we put it before. But yeah, this area is full of ivy and stuff, and we just put a thick layer of wood chips to prepare it to house berries, to be like a little berry garden in the future. And you can see in our neighbor's yard there's like a sea of wild garlic, which is slowly coming to our space as well, and we will be harvesting the seeds and spreading it a bit more in our garden as well. So here our main vegetable area starts. This is a big hill which is basically where I collected the first couple of centimeters where the grass was. So I just took the grass off from the pond, wildlife pond up there, I just put them here on the hill. We left it for a year and now we spread it this spring. Put a thin layer of mulch, and we'll probably be growing flowers here this year. And yeah, you can see we have everywhere wild strawberries growing, and we have a very different characteristic of soil types. So here basically this is the line, but it goes a bit like this-ish, where we have more loamy soil, and back there it's very chalky sandy, on towards then that area of the garden, and it becomes steeper and steeper the more we go there. Here we have our wild nettle patch, which is one of our favorite vegetables, very nutritious. And here these beds we put last year already. This one we didn't top up with compost this year. We topped up all of these beds with compost. And yeah, last year we had here mustard, of which you can still see these chalks. Put the garlic here and there. We'll also be growing vegetables in this bed. This bed is already planted out with peas and some kohlrabi and broccoli. The garlic is to break bud everywhere. Coming out, I see there's spinach. So this we really planted radish. Planted to a very broad variety of crops, but it is again very dry this year. So we had now a long dry period. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get some rain. So we'll see how much will come of it. We watered it each second morning, but that only after some time, and it might not have been enough. Here we have a peach tree, which is in support of the whole guild. In vegetable garden, you can see it has peach leaf curl. What I do against that last year, and it worked, I dilute P 10:1 with water and then I spray it over it. That worked very well last year. This year I will probably do that again, and from next year I will have my soil food web school training far enough so that I will do compost tea and extract to help the soil, and from that also the tree in that way. Behind it you can see the greenhouse, and to just take a few steps back, I'll see if I find a photo which I will then blend in here, but this before we moved in is all just grass. Like one here we made these terraces for the greenhouse and then for the wildlife pond. This we flattened a little bit as well. There we will make a terrace where hopefully one with a pergola, which will have kiwi and other stuff growing over it and around it, have a nice shady spot in the summer, and hopefully a little outside classroom for permaculture classes and so on in the future. To this area, just a few words as well. This is like our later, like next step in succession, kind of food forest, where we planted an apple tree, a plum tree, a cherry tree, and a mirabelle. It has already some sea buckthorn and Eleagnuses growing here and there. I actually ordered more nitrogen fixes, but they will not arrive until autumn. And then we'll fill this up, let it accumulate organic matter and nutrients, and then over the years we'll build this food forest out. There you can see a row of willows. These are just cuttings from my aunt, which has a big willow tree, and they need to cut the branches each other year. So we just stuck them in the ground as a windbreak, because there, as you actually see there, the pear tree flowering. Because in spring we have very strong winds. This area here, from above all this line of trunks from trees which we felled in the back, in the wildlife area, what will be a wildlife area, all this area up to the tree line, and here there's a path going up there until there, will be the chicken area, which will come in a couple of weeks. They will make our compost, where we will mix like carbon, so straw, hay and wood chips, together with food scraps which we collect from local shops and our own. We'll make compost, and excess nutrients will leach out and be caught down here by the organic matter and microorganisms, in order to boost this whole food forest as well. So yeah, this is our greenhouse. A few words about that. When we moved here, it's very enthusiastic. I didn't really know a lot about the different greenhouse systems yet, which are out there. So we bought this one. It's a very nice greenhouse. We're still very much experimenting with the whole garden, because we have many past problems from transforming the lawn into a garden area, so especially snails pressures or slug pressure is absolutely incredible. But yeah, generally we're very much still experimenting, finding how we can flow. Also with our 3 toddlers, you see there's a sea of parsley at the bottom. There's our what we will grow this year. But yeah, just to finish, I would probably have built like a passive solar greenhouse now, if I would again do it, and put it more or less into the hill to have this additional thermal mass. And but yeah, now we build it like this. We have here, this is stuff which we sowed in spring, some salads, grass, radishes, spinach. I see a few more kohlrabis as well, and this is part of our vegetables for this year, salads. So yeah, you see, obviously this all looks very inefficient, but as I said, we have so many things going on. We're really just experimenting and seeing with how we can flow with the space and our kids. Here in the back, this will be, originally it was designed or thought to be for cold frames, but we will see how this will unfold in the future. For those who don't know the concept of cold frames are basically like a structure, low structure with a lid where you put your plants in order to harden off before you put them out in the garden. Here another hascap, another serviceberry. Serviceberry, the Latin name is a melanchia, for anybody interested to know. There's one more hascap. Here in this area was the old compost. We'll build a shed here, which we don't know yet exactly how, but for now we're thinking to do a straw bale construction, and this will be our main crop vegetable garden. Yeah, and then here we come to the wildlife pond, which was really a dream of mine. I started digging it actually a good year ago, but I tried different techniques. I made a video about this as well, which I actually made before this video, but it will come out after. I see we forgot to turn on the pump today. Just quickly turn on the pump, bear with me for a moment. So the pump is on now. This pond is especially designed for wildlife, so it's really important to have a source for all the insects and different mammals. We found some, what's actually the English name? I forgot the pointy guy, which curls together. I'll write it down. Poop in the garden, who is eating our snails, hopefully. So yeah, we planted an array of native plants. Yeah, now the water comes down from the waterfall, and we got some, which I also forgot, baby frogs from my dad, who has also a pond. Obviously the lotus is not native, but yeah, this will slowly develop now over the years into a beautiful wildlife pond. There we have some Eleagnus bingii, which stretching a little bit in order to prevent the cold winds from the north, which come from up there, from the forest, beautiful early succession forest, to kind of divert the cold past the greenhouse, so that to divert the cold past the greenhouse, so that hopefully it stays cooler, warmer during the winter. Here you see, putting all this, well, if you're wondering why there's a bunch of dead wood, it is actually there to attract predators from like insects, which will then live there. As in the rock pile, we have few different species of snakes living here. So yeah, in order to give them and two different varieties of species of lizards, so all of them have a nice home to live in. Here I'm not using any filter, I just put these stones which we have next to the pond, lying from our predecessors. It's basically the filter with some Iris germanica, which will basically filter out some more nutrients as a filter, and this will be all. And to see here the chicken house, I will actually start building next week, will be here, but I will explain more as we go up now. There's a pig, hopefully the microclimate will love it. It's a brown turkey version, variety, which hopefully will give us lots of pigs in the future. And then from here, you see more. This is a wild mulberry. Where's the other one? There. Oh man, my finger is not the same on the camera than at my side there. Somewhere is another wild mulberry. We give the chickens shade and mulberries to eat, with different other plants like I think it's Berberis vulgaris, the common name, elderberries, different elderberries, and so on, which will help us feed the chickens and give them some shade in the heat of summer. So yeah, here will be the chickens. You see there our compost pile. So all the food scraps and everything. We'll actually do it inspired by Edible Acres, who has his compost chicken system. Here we actually misunderstanding with a local shop, and we are already going now to collect the food scraps. That's why there's so many food scraps there from the shop. And so yeah, the chickens, the house will be at that end, and then the idea is then that they have to go all the way through to here to find the nicest bits and bobs, and then from here we move the compost, turn it, and then when it comes to that end, it's done, and we can move it out to our gardens or to friends and family. I'll keep it at that for this part because I will make more videos about that in the future. And here you can see more of our fruit trees and bushes. I planted actually all along here all kinds of stuff to give interest to the chickens and shade, and this will much more develop. I'll make a more detailed video about this when you can actually see more. Just a note, I put the wood chips down at quite a thin layer, just a couple of centimeters thick, because my idea was really not to push away the local native plants, but really just to raise the organic matter content in the soil and to give something to the microbes to eat, which is very, very important, and to have it as a carbon sponge build up in the future. So now we come slowly to the next area. Here we'll also plant a few trees. I see my battery is dying, so I'll keep this short. A few trees with a few gills, but all of this will be planted in autumn and next spring. And here, just as a conclusion, then is our steepest part with an oak here, walnut tree here. We planted one walnut somewhere there, and then there's different pine varieties. There's a larch, there's spruces, there's Douglasia here, many little oaks as well. And here we'll actually just go and forage native bushes and shrubs, and this will be really, apart from this lower area, which is actually the first trees which we planted here, but the rest will be really wildlife dedicated. Up there we have a little shed which we will turn into a shrine, as it is on the highest point. I actually want to go up there and take a shot from down. Here you see the lower area with the swimming pond. So this will be from the forest really a wildlife corridor with a little, with the path from the house going down. So there will be a little break, but it will be the main wildlife corridor down into the lower food forest. Yes, and something I forgot to mention, as the hill is very steep, even back there. The reason why I built the swale the way I did it, with these trunks also there, because we also have many lateral roots. So I'm actually doing an upping swale instead of a downing swale. I will also make a video about that, but so this is still, it's not a perfect proper swale, but it will definitely slow down the water runoff, spread it a little bit, especially as and here you can really see this is filled with wood chips, so this will take up the water, and to collect it and then to let it store the water. Here you see these trees we felled because they were quite in a bad shape, and like this the walnut gets more sun as well. And this is our EBC tank of 1000 liters, into which we pump the water from the spring, and then we have these tubes running here and there so that we can that we can what's the word, man? I'm really lack of words today. Jesus Christ, I cannot remember the word. I will just do, irrigate everything downhill without having to use a pump every time. So yeah, this is up here. See the slope going down where we were standing earlier. This EBC tank will also be replaced by like an irrigation pond, which will be putting more nutrients into the water so that we have more nutrients in the water with which we are irrigating. So this is it. I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions or suggestions, please put them in the comments. As you can see, I'm very much still in the beginning of the whole process. So I'm always happy to have a beautiful exchange, and any suggestions are really welcome. And then we're showing you this beautiful big oak in the back of our house. I say goodbye and hope that you all have a very beautiful time.